Alt 92.3's Not So Silent Night.
Kane, we are backstage at Not So Silent Night in the interview room. I got Kevan Kenney here
for
with
having me, Kane.
Oh, absolutely,
Quite the
dude.
honor.
Glad you could be here. And we're joined now by Mike Shinoda.
Hi.
Hi, Mike.
Hi. Yeah, we're here.
How are you?
I'm good.
I know
I'm
you
good.
you stopped by before, but the door was shut, so you walked
Well,
away
yeah,
and
and there
coughed or
was all
something?
this moaning and these weird, grunting noises.
That was Kevin.
Man.
I told him not to be so loud this
Listen.
time.
It's just real. Yeah, I almost opened the door and I was
Gross.
like, no, now is not the time.
Well, how are you?
I'm good. I mean, other than that, I'm fine.
You seem good.
Yeah,
you seem
I'm good.
Like everything's going well.
Yeah, well, I finished up a U.S. tour. I was out for like about a month and a half, and then had a really nice Thanksgiving, very chill. We go up into the mountains in California where there's like, I think the population of that town is like 200.
Wow.
It's a
Nice.
tiny little place. And so we get
So
away
you can
from
run around in your underpants and do whatever you want to do.
I mean, if you want to freeze everything off, it's
Well,
like
that's
very
true.
cool. It's like
But
snowing.
I guess the point was no one's going to bother you.
Yeah, no, it's really,
Yeah.
really quiet. My family's been going up there forever. But yeah, just very chill. So we're coming off of a very nice little holiday.
You know what I love? This is, I don't know if it was intentional or whatever, but at your shows, there's so many emotional moments.
Oh yeah.
When the crowd sings back to you and sings Chester's parts, and it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, was this a nice surprise for you, or did you kind of expect it? Or
Oh no, I expected. I mean,
Yeah.
I when I was going into, even going into doing, so I started the process of my solo record, Post Traumatic, came out like earlier this year, and in the process of making that record and deciding to start that, I had to make a lot of decisions. I had to really think about the next steps and the steps after those. So in other words, like, okay, well, I wrote a bunch of songs. Should I put out an album? If I put out an album, people are going to ask me about what the songs mean. If I do that, I probably should go out on tour. I will see fans who will cry. I will see fans who will tell me really, their personal stories and their personal, not only just their connections to Chester and to the band, and probably bring up stuff that makes me uncomfortable or makes me sad or whatever, but also tell me stories about their own lives that are hard to listen to. And can I listen to potentially lots of those every single night I go out? And I realized after I'd done it I did a few things, like I did a few signings, I did a few little things, and I realized, you know what, I'm okay with this. Like my perspective on it is, number one, that I was out there to thank the fans for their support and thank them for the way they were celebrating Chester, the way that I would want them to, and also go out there and kind of guide that and let people know, I want to see people remembering, remember your favorite songs. Remember how great his voice was. Remember all the wonderful things he did, with things like charity and the way he used to talk to people. Like he's a wonderful guy. He's one of my best friends, obviously. And then I want the fans wanted the fans to remember that, and I wanted to have those moments. I felt like I was comfortable having those moments in the shows and everything.
Totally. Mike, you talk about the connection you have with your fans right there and how beautiful that is, how powerful that is. I got to ask you about a connection you have with another artist. We're here tonight in New York City. We're here in Brooklyn. JayZ's birthday was this past week.
Was this week, yeah.
Yeah, this is the Barclays Center, of course. He helped make this thing a reality. We also just recently celebrated the 14th anniversary of Collision Course. It's wild.
Yeah.
What are your memories of that project coming together?
It was originally started by the process. The conversation was started by MTV, and they went to Jay and they said, the mashup thing kind of started with you and Danger Mouse mashing you up with the Beatles. Who do you want to do a mashup? We're going to do this like mashup show. They actually originally they wanted to do a series, and so he said Linkin Park, and they called us. And the first thing I did was I actually sent back 3 songs. Like my response was 3 songs. And JayZ's reaction was like, oh, you know what I mean? And the reason that was the way that played out that way was because what they didn't know was mashups were how I learned to produce. It was how I learned to make music. I would sit, all weekend, every weekend, putting little mashups of my favorite stuff together when I was like in high school. And I learned how to use a sampler by mashing stuff up. It'd be like Wu-Tang Clan and Smashing Pumpkins and 9 Inch Nails and Jackson 5 and this old James Brown break beat with like a I don't know, something weird. What's the weirdest thing I ever sampled?
What was the weirdest thing
I
you've
was
ever
just
sampled?
thinking about
You're a creative guy.
I did a really dope mashup one time of, there was a New York rapper named Nine, and the track I took his acapella, and the track I built underneath it was I think it was PYT by Michael Jackson with Audio 2's Top Billin' beat underneath it.
Oh my
so
gosh.
those are the three pieces. If somebody out there wants to hear what that sounds like, you just take those three songs and put them together that way, and you'll hear that was my mashup.
Just really quick follow-up before we kick it back to Ken. Did you rap Jay's verses on that album? Did he give you any piece of advice in terms of cadence, in terms of flow? Like, what did he say to you? Not many people would approach covering a JayZ song. You've done that. You're one of the few people to do that on Wax.
My attitude was like, look, we're gonna do this thing. Like, if Jay, I just did them and I put it down on the track. And if Jay doesn't like them, he'll ask me to take them off, right? And so that was for me, it's everything. Like, when I'm doing something creative like that, like, I will try to find the boundary where it's like uncomfortable, or where it's like you don't go past that line. And so that was me, like, pushing that line and saying, okay, what's acceptable and what's not. And he didn't say, like, no, let me do this or let me do that. He just let it be.
That's awesome.
Which I think was cool. I thought that was cool because for me, growing up listening to Jay, I felt like he is such a great storyteller that it's one thing when somebody's just like, if you're doing like a battle rap, like bragging kind of song, to, that's one like style that I love and I appreciate. I actually grew up doing that too. That was my favorite stuff, was like that. But once in a while you get somebody who's just really good at painting a picture, and Jay's good at that. And those stories to me tend to be more universal. Like, in my head, I can hear somebody else doing those types of songs more, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because it's almost more classic.
My favorite thing about that project was I got to get my picture with JayZ. Because you guys
humble brag from Ken.
Because you guys came to the station. All right, I just want to get to a question from a fan, because we asked fans to ask all the artists at Not So Silent Night questions, and by far everybody wanted to ask you stuff.
Oh, that's nice.
So we'll keep it live. Judy wants to know one of the best holiday presents you ever received.
Wow. Best holiday presents.
Yeah.
In modern times, my wife, it's like not a.
Have you lived in not modern times? Did you live at the Stone Age?
Well, we'll get to that. And when I say modern times, I mean times with electricity.
Okay.
After the invention of the wheel. Sorry, this is getting really weird. I just read this like conspiracy. Have you ever seen one of those conspiracy theory things online about like, this person is actually a vampire and this person is like Illuminati and all this crazy. Like, I don't know how I ended up on one of those pages. It was like, and one of them is that there's like a few actors that like these Reddit pages about them being actually vampires. Like, this is why they are actually, and I don't know if these people actually, do you think people actually think that there are vampires for real?
Absolutely. There are people who believe the earth is flat. Of course,
Yeah,
there
that's
are
a good
people who
point.
believe
That's a good point.
there are people who will believe everything.
Yeah, so I gotta watch it making jokes about like
You'll
being
end up
around for
on
because
another page.
You're feeding into it. What's the craziest thing you've ever heard about yourself online? Speaking of that,
jeez, I've heard so many weird things.
what top of mind?
Well, the Illuminati thing was a thing for
That
a
is
moment.
pretty wild.
Yeah,
You got Kane over here. You can't see him. He's throwing up the Illuminati.
he's doing that. No, but there was like
that
I
I actually believe, though. I
there
think
was
you
one
were.
point when
part of
somebody
it.
said that, and I was like, first of all, I had to like look it up to see if it was the same thing that we talked about when I was like in junior high, like and like maybe early high school. Like, we talked about Illuminati being like secret societies that like run the planet. And then we forgot about that, and it didn't come up again. And then somebody brought it up and was like, yeah, Linkin Park, it's like Illuminati.
What?
And then I looked it up just to be like, is Illuminati still the same thing it was back then? And the answer is yes. It's still, the definition's still the same as when I was a kid. This theory has been around forever. And I was like, dude, you guys really, like, honestly, if I was Illuminati, I would be bawling right now. Like, I would think, why would I be a musician, like, running around doing shows? Like, if I was Illuminati...
What would you be if you were part of the Illuminati?
Well,
what would you be?
let's start with Facebook. Like, I would, like, own Facebook or something. Like, I think way bigger than Linkin Park. Like, right? Like, I would be Jeff Bezos or something. I would, like, I would own Virgin or something.
Yeah.
Like, why would I be in Linkin Park? That's, like, the stupidest... That'd be a stupid thing to be a part of if I was Illuminati and, like, running the planet.
Right.
Mike Shinoda. Have a great show. Mike
Is
Shinoda.
that really it? That's it?
Mike Shinoda, not Illuminati, possible flat earther. Thank you for being here.
Possible flat earther.
I'm trying to get to going somewhere else. Yeah.
Oh,
Thanks for
God.
coming, man.
I love this. Thank you for having me. This is a great lineup, and I'm proud to be part of it. Thank you.
Excellent. It's all 92.3.